I was sitting in the driver's seat of my brand new Honda Civic. Well, new to me. A 2019 with 42,000 miles. When my mother called and asked why I never came to visit anymore. "You've become such a stranger," she said. "I barely see you these days." I looked at the dashboard, at the car payment book in the glove compartment, at the insurance card with my name on it that I'd paid for myself, and I realized she genuinely didn't understand. She'd given my brother a car 6 months earlier. Just given it to him. Her 2018 Toyota Camry. With 30,000 miles. Clean title. Fully paid off. Handed him the keys at Sunday dinner. And told him it was his now. She was getting a newer model and didn't need 2 cars. I was at that dinner. I'd taken the bus to get there, the same bus I'd been taking for 3 years. The same bus that added an hour and 15 minutes to my commute each way. The same bus I'd been riding while saving every spare dollar to buy myself a car. Because I'd never, not once, thought to ask my mother for one. Because that's not what we did. That's not what I did. I figured things out on my own. Except apparently, that was only what I did. Let me start from the beginning. My brother's name is Marcus. He's 3 years older than me. And from the time I was old enough to understand family dynamics, I knew that he occupied a different space in my mother's world than I did. Not a better space, necessarily, just different, more central, more requiring of attention and resources and concern. Marcus was charming, the kind of kid who could talk his way out of anything. He got mediocre grades, but had a million friends. He played basketball in high school. Not particularly well, but he looked good doing it. He had girlfriends, a social life, a presence. People remembered Marcus. I was quieter. I got good grades because that's what you did if you wanted to go to college. I had a few close friends instead of a million acquaintances. I worked part-time at a coffee shop starting at 16. I was responsible, reliable, the kind of daughter who didn't cause problems, and that became the pattern. Marcus needed help. I didn't. When Marcus got his first speeding ticket at 18, my mother paid it. $250. She told him not to speed anymore, but she paid it. When he got his second one 8 months later, she paid that too. $300 that time. When I got my first speeding ticket at 19, my only speeding ticket, my mother told me it was my responsibility to handle it. $175. That hurt to lose. When Marcus wanted to go on a spring break trip to Florida with his buddies, his sophomore year of college, my mother gave him $800. "Just this once," she said. "He's only young once." When I wanted to study abroad for a semester junior year, my mother said she couldn't afford to help. "You'll have to take out loans if you really want to go," she told me. She didn't take me out with his trip. I don't know that I want to do. I couldn't stomach more debt. I noticed these things. I stored them away. I told myself it didn't mean anything, that parents are allowed to treat their kids differently, that maybe Marcus needed more help because he wasn't as naturally responsible as I was. But somewhere deep down, in a place I didn't like to examine, I knew the truth. Being responsible just meant you got less help. Being capable meant you were left to figure things out alone. The car thing started my junior year of college. I was 20. I'd been borrowing my mother's old Honda Accord whenever I came home from school. It was a 2004. Beat up but functional. My mother had upgraded to a nicer car a few years earlier and kept the Accord as a backup. Marcus had his own car at that point, a 2012 Ford Focus that my mother had co-signed for when he was 21. She'd even helped him with the down payment, $3,000. He'd promised to make the payments himself. He didn't, of course. He made them for about 6 months, then started missing payments. My mother covered them. "Just until he gets back on his feet," she said. The Accord died right before my senior year. Transmission gave out. It would have cost more to fix than the car was worth. My mother sold it for parts. I guess you'll have to figure out transportation when you're home, she told me. Marcus still had his focus. She was still making his car payments. I took the bus. And I told myself it was fine. It was character building. It taught me to plan ahead, to be flexible, to manage my time. All the things responsible people tell themselves when they're getting less than they deserve. After I graduated, I got a job at a marketing firm downtown. Good job. $42,000 a year starting salary. Not incredible, but solid for someone right out of college. The bus commute was brutal. An hour and 15 minutes each way if I was lucky. Longer if there were delays. But I couldn't afford a car yet, not with student loans and rent and trying to build up an emergency fund. Marcus, meanwhile, had bounced between jobs for a couple years after college. He'd worked at a gym, then quit, worked in sales, got fired, tried to start a personal training business that never really took off. Through it all, my mother still helped him, covered his rent a few times when he was short, gave him money for groceries, kept making those car payments. He's figuring things out, she'd say when I pointed out the imbalance. Everyone moves at their own pace. I wanted to ask, what about my pace? What about the fact that I'd figured things out without constant financial bailouts? But I didn't, because pointing it out would make me seem petty, jealous, ungrateful. So I kept taking the bus. And I saved. God, I saved. Every bonus, every tax refund, every birthday check from relatives. I put it all into a savings account labeled Car Fund in my banking app. I tracked every dollar. I calculated how long it would take me to save up enough for a reliable used car. Something under $10,000. Something that wouldn't break down immediately. It took me of bus rides in the rain, in the heat, in the bitter cold. 2.5 years of missing social events because they didn't line up with bus schedules. 2.5 years of being that person who always needed rides from friends. But I did it. By the time I was 25, I had $8,500 saved. Enough for a down payment and to cover the first few months of car payments and insurance. I started looking. Spent weeks researching, test driving, comparing. I wanted to make the right choice. This was too important to screw up. I found her on a Saturday in March. A 2019 Honda Civic with 42,000 miles. One owner. Clean title. Well-maintained. The dealer was asking $14,000. I negotiated down to $13,200. I put down $6,000, financed the rest. Got a loan at 6% interest. Not great, but not terrible for someone with limited credit history. My payment would be $247 a month for 3 years. I drove off the lot, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Pride. Pure, uncomplicated pride. I'd earned it. Every dollar of the down payment. Every future monthly payment. Nobody had co-signed. Nobody had helped. This was a thing I'd done entirely on my own. I called my mother that night to tell her. "That's nice, honey," she said. "What kind did you get?" "A Honda Civic, 2019. It's in really good shape." "How much?" $13,000 total. I put down $6,000 and financed the rest. There was a pause. "You had $6,000 saved?" "Yeah, I've been saving for a while." "Well, that's very responsible of you." Responsible. There was that word again. "Thanks," I said. "I'm excited about it. No more bus rides." "Good for you. You'll have to show it to me sometime." Sometime. Not come over this weekend. Not I'm proud of you. Just sometime. That should have been my first hint. The real moment happened 3 months later. June. Sunday dinner at my mother's house. I'd been driving my Civic for 12 weeks at that point, and I was still in that honeymoon phase where every trip felt like a small luxury. Marcus was there. He'd gotten another job, this time at a tech company doing customer service. It seemed to be sticking, which was good. He was living with his girlfriend, Sarah, in an apartment across town. My mother made pot roast. We sat around her table, the same table we'd eaten at since we were kids, and made small talk. Work was fine. Weather was warming up. Sarah's sister was getting married in August. Then, right when we were finishing dessert, my mother put down her fork and smiled. I felt something tighten in my stomach. That smile. I knew that smile. It was the smile that preceded an announcement about something good happening for Marcus. "I have some news," she said. I looked at Marcus. He was grinning. "Yeah, Mom's getting a new one, a 2024 Camry, so she's giving me the old one." The old one. Her 2018 Camry. The one she'd bought 4 years ago. The one with 30,000 miles on it. The one worth probably $20,000 at least. "That's generous," I managed to say. "Well, Marcus's car is getting old," my mother said. "That Focus is almost 12 years old now. It's time for him to have something more reliable." I thought about my 2019 Civic, about the $6,000 I'd scraped together, about the $247 I sent to the bank every month, about the 2.5 years of bus rides. "When did you decide this?" I asked. "A few weeks ago. I was thinking about upgrading anyway, and it just made sense. Marcus needs a better car. What about his Focus?" "We'll probably sell it or trade it in." We, like it was a joint decision. My mother's money and Marcus's needs were intertwined in a way mine never had been. "That's really nice of you, Mom," Marcus said. He reached over and squeezed her hand. "I really appreciate it." "Of course, honey. That's what family does." I looked at my plate, at the remains of apple pie that suddenly seemed impossible to swallow. That's what family does. But family hadn't done that for me. Family had let me take the bus for years. Family had watched me save and scrape and sacrifice. Family had said, "That's very responsible of you," when I bought my own car. I left early that night, said I had a headache. It wasn't entirely a lie. Something was pounding behind my eyes. I sat in my Civic in my mother's driveway for 10 minutes before starting the engine. I looked at the house, at the light in the kitchen window, at my mother's Camry parked out front, the Camry that would be Marcus's by the end of the month. And I realized something I'd been avoiding for years. My mother didn't see me. Not really. She saw the version of me that was capable and responsible and didn't need help. She saw the version that figured things out, the version that was fine on her own. She didn't see the years of bus rides, the times I'd been late to work because of delays, the social events I'd missed, the exhaustion of always being the one who had to figure it out. She didn't see any of that because I'd never shown her. I'd never asked for help. I'd never said I'm struggling or I need support or why does Marcus get everything handed to him while I get nothing? I'd just been responsible. And being responsible got you nothing, except the expectation that you'd continue to be responsible. I drove home. And I started pulling back. Not dramatically, not with an announcement, not a lot of Jeet himself, but I worked out there to break through created stuff showing up. I've been going to Sunday dinner every week since graduating college. It was routine, expected. I stopped going every week, went every other week instead, then every 3 weeks, then once a month. My mother noticed. "You've been so busy lately," she said one Sunday when I did show up. "Is everything okay at work?" "Work's fine. I've just had a lot going on." Like what? What could I say? That I was tired of watching her give Marcus things while praising me for not needing things? That every Sunday dinner felt like a reminder that I was the child who didn't warrant investment? "Just life stuff," I said. She didn't push. And that was part of the problem. If she'd really wanted to know, she would have pushed. She would have asked follow-up questions. She would have noticed that something had shifted. She didn't. When I do that, because in her mind, I was fine. I was always fine. Marcus got his new car in July. My mother threw him a little party, made his favorite meal, took photos of him holding the keys, posted them on Facebook with a caption about how proud she was. I wasn't at that dinner. I'd told her I had plans. I didn't. I stayed home and watched Netflix, and tried not to calculate how much money she'd given Marcus over the years versus how much she'd given me. I failed at not calculating. It was a lot. Thousands and thousands of dollars, maybe tens of thousands, if you counted all the rent payments, the car payments, the bailouts, the gifts. And me? I'd gotten help with college tuition, which I was grateful for, but everything else? That was on me. The phone call came in October, 4 months after the car thing. I was at home on a Saturday afternoon, meal prepping for the week, when my phone rang. "Hi, honey," my mother said. "I wanted to talk to you about something." Here we go, I thought. Okay, I've been feeling like we're not as close as we used to be. You hardly ever come over anymore. You don't call much. I feel like I barely know what's going on in your life. I'd been using to chop vegetables. What do you want to know? I don't know, everything. How's work? Are you seeing anyone? What do you do with your time? Work's good. I'm not seeing anyone. I spend my time doing normal things. That's so vague. She sounded hurt. I just feel like you've pulled away from the family. The family. Like we were all equally invested in each other. I've been busy, I said. Too busy for your own mother? And there it was. The guilt. The implication that I was failing at something. That I was the problem. Mom, I come to dinner once a month. I call every couple weeks. That's not pulling away. That's just being an adult with my own life. Marcus comes over all the time. Of course he did. Marcus had always been good at showing up, at being present, at maintaining the appearance of closeness. It was easy to show up when someone was constantly giving you things. Marcus and I are different people, I said. I know that, but I miss you. I feel like you're always making excuses not to come over. I took a breath, tried to figure out how to say what I needed to say without starting a fight. Mom, do you remember when you gave Marcus your car? She paused. Yes, what about it? Did it occur to you that I might have liked help getting a car? That I spent years taking the bus while saving up to buy my own? You never asked for help. There it was. The thing she always said. You never asked. I didn't think I needed to ask. I thought parents noticed when their kids were struggling. You weren't struggling. You were fine. You had a job. You were managing. Marcus needed help more than you did. Marcus always needs help more than I do. That's the pattern. He needs things, so you give them to him. I don't ask for things, so I get nothing. That's not fair. I've always tried to give both of you what you need. No, Mom, you've given Marcus what he needs. You've given me praise for not needing anything. I helped pay for your college and his. I always try to give Marcus what you need. You helped both of us with college. But everything else? Every car payment you made for him, every time you covered his rent, every bailout. I never got any of that. I got, "You're so responsible," while he got your checkbook. Silence on the list. Other end. I can't believe you're keeping score like this, she finally said. That's so petty. Petty. There was the word I've been afraid of. The word that kept me quiet for years. It's not about keeping score. It's about feeling like I matter to you as much as he does. You do matter to me. Then why didn't you offer to help me get a car? Why didn't you even think about it? Because you didn't need it. You were handling it on your own. I was handling it on my own. because no one was offering to help. That's not the same as not needing help. Another silence. I don't know what you want me to say, she said quietly. I don't want you to say anything. I just want you to understand why I'm not around as much. It's hard to watch you constantly invest in Marcus while acting like my independence is something to celebrate, instead of something that happened because I had no other choice. You're being unfair. Maybe I was. Maybe I was jealous and ungrateful. Maybe I should have been happy that I was capable enough to handle things on my own. Maybe I should have been thrilled that I didn't need my mother's help. But I wasn't. I was tired and hurt and done pretending that being overlooked was the same as being strong. I have to go, I said. I'll talk to you later. I hung up before she could respond. The next few months were strange. My mother called less. I called less. We maintained a polite distance. I still went to Sunday dinner occasionally, but it felt performative, like we were both going through the motions of being family without the actual substance underneath. Marcus called me in December. What's going on with you and Mom? He asked. Nothing. Why? She says you're mad at her. Something about the car? Of course she'd framed it that way. Something about the car. Like it was one isolated incident instead of a pattern spanning my entire life. I'm not mad, I said. I'm just tired. Tired of what? Marcus, do you know how much money Mom has given you over the years? He was quiet for a moment. I mean, she's helped me out sometimes. Sometimes. She's been helping you out constantly for a decade. Car payments, rent, bailouts, and now a whole car. Has she ever said no to you? I don't keep track of that stuff. I know you don't. That's the problem. You don't have to keep track because you know she'll always help. I keep track of every dollar because I know I'm on my own. That's your choice. You could ask for help if you needed it. Why should I have to ask? Why does she automatically offer to help you, but wait for me to ask? I don't know. Maybe because I'm not as good at figuring things out as you are? And there it was. The justification. He's not as capable, so he deserves more help. She's capable, so she deserves less. Do you realize how messed up that logic is? I asked. I think you're making this into a bigger deal than it is. Of course you do. You're not the one who spent years on a bus. He sighed. Look, I'm sorry Mom gave me the car and didn't help you, but I don't think you should punish her for trying to help me. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just establishing boundaries. By not visiting? By not pretending that everything is fine when it's not. We didn't talk much after that call. It was like the whole family had collectively decided that I was being difficult, that I was making things awkward, that I was the problem. Maybe I was. Maybe I should be a bigger person. Maybe I should have swallowed my hurt and shown up and acted like nothing was wrong. But I couldn't. I'd spent so many years swallowing my hurt. So many years being the easy one, the responsible one, the one who didn't make waves. I was done. Christmas was the real test. My mother expected both of us for dinner. It was tradition, non-negotiable. I went. But I drove my Civic, the Civic I'd paid for myself, and I stayed for exactly 3 hours. We opened presents. I'd gotten my mother a nice candle and a book she'd mentioned wanting. She'd gotten me a gift card to Target and a scarf. She'd gotten Marcus a PlayStation 5 and a new leather jacket. I watched him open them, watched him hug her and thank her and tell her she was the best mom ever. And I felt nothing. Not jealousy, not anger, just a kind of hollow acceptance. This was how it was. This was how it had always been. And nothing I said or did would change it. I left after dinner, hugged my mother goodbye, told her I'd see her soon. I didn't see her for 2 months. She called in February, left a voicemail. "I don't understand what I did wrong," she said. Her voice was thick, like she'd been crying. "I feel like you hate me. You've become such a stranger. I miss my daughter." I listened to the voicemail 3 times, tried to figure out how to respond. The truth was, I didn't hate her. I just couldn't be around her without feeling like I was constantly being reminded of my place in the hierarchy, without feeling like the daughter who didn't matter quite as much. I called her back. "I don't hate you," I said. "I just need some space." Space from what? From feeling I'm invisible. From watching you give Marcus everything while acting like I should be grateful for scraps. I don't give you scraps, Mom. You gave him a car. You throw him parties. You post about him on social media. When I bought my own car, after years of saving, you said, "That's nice," and moved on. Do you see the difference? You're so independent. I didn't think you wanted attention like that. Everyone wants attention, Mom. Everyone wants their parents to be proud of them, to celebrate their achievements, to act like they matter. You do matter. Then act like it. Stop giving Marcus everything and praising me for needing nothing. Stop making my independence feel like a punishment. She was crying. I could hear it in her breathing. I never meant to make you feel that way. I know, but you did. And I need time to figure out how to have a relationship with you. That doesn't make me feel like I'm worth less than my brother. You're not worth less. Then stop treating me like I am. I hung up. And then I cried, because loving someone and needing distance from them is one of the hardest things in the world. It's been a year since that conversation. My relationship with my mother is complicated. We talk, we see each other, but it's different now. There's a boundary there that didn't exist before. A recognition that I won't keep showing up just because she expects me to. That my presence is a choice, not an obligation. She's trying, in her way. She asks more questions about my life now. Comments on my social media posts, sent me flowers on my birthday, small things that probably don't seem like much, but feel like seismic shifts given our history. But she still gives Marcus more. She helped him and Sarah with their wedding deposit last month. $5,000. When I mentioned it, she said, "They needed help. You're doing fine." And there it is. The same pattern. The same justification. I've accepted that she won't change. Not completely. She'll always see Marcus as the one who needs more help. She'll always see me as the one who's fine on her own. But I've changed. I've stopped waiting for her to see me differently. Stopped hoping she'll suddenly realize how much she's overlooked me over the years. Stopped expecting fairness. I just live my life now. I drive my Civic, which I own outright now, paid off 6 months early. I got a promotion at work. I'm dating someone I really like. I have friends who see me, who value me, who don't take my independence for granted. And I visit my mother on my terms, when I want to, when I have the emotional energy for it, not because she expects me to, not because family means you have to show up, no matter how much it costs you, but because I choose to, and there's power in that choice. My mother asked me last week why I never visit as much as Marcus does. I looked at her, at the woman who gave my brother a car, and wondered why I stopped coming around after I bought my own. And I realized she'll never understand. She'll never see that her generosity to him felt like a rejection of me. That every time she helped him without offering to help me, she was sending a message about who mattered more. But I understand, and that's enough. I visit when I can, Mom, I said, and I left it at that. Because some things can't be explained. Some hurts can't be healed with words. Some people will never see what they don't want to see. All you can do is build a life that doesn't depend on their validation. A life where your worth isn't measured by whether your mother celebrates your independence or resents you for not needing her help. A life where you drive your own car, the one you bought yourself, the one you earned, and you don't feel bitter about it. You just feel free.